Hey guys, welcome back to the infamous project, and today gonna run you guys through a few little wiring gremlins that I managed to just finish up. So gonna kind of go back in time and show you guys what I had to go through in order to make sure that all of the wiring in terms of the body harness of the car was working. You want to make sure that all your lights are working, the hatch solenoid, your fuel door, turn signals, courtesy lights, make sure all the cluster bulbs are working, your climate controls, the power windows, power locks, all of those things. And managed to pretty much cross everything off the list today. And one really important thing that I'm going to be showing you guys how to do in this video is how to repin a wiring harness. Now, it's pretty much standard procedure, across all the wiring harnesses in your Fox, whether you are installing mass air and you're repinning the harness that's going down to your computer, or whether, like in my case today, with the headlight harness that I swapped out, there's a few connectors that are actually in a different spot and need to go ahead and repin those. So it's really something, wiring shouldn't scare you guys at all. It's all about troubleshooting, taking a step back, thinking about what you did, checking the obvious, fuses, connectors, grounds, all of those things. We are back working on the DECH number 5 car and managed to wrap a few little things up. Nothing too major that you guys would have missed, but I'll run you through those few little things, just little items like getting the headliner installed and finishing up the center console installation, because I kind of just had it sitting in there before, but all this stuff is now bolted down, looking good. You know, ashtray door and everything else is in place and ready to go. Headliner good, sun visors, all that stuff up in here. Still need to put the trim pieces on in the metal trim components. Even got a rear view mirror now. Got the gauge cluster all cleaned up and it's sitting there. So I have still yet to really test everything out. I did go ahead and install some LED bulbs in there. Again, I always use these Sirius LED bulbs. They work really well. They fit in all of your cluster, in your heater controls. They'll even work in a dome light. And we got one in the glove box, the ashtray, and this car actually has the rear courtesy lights underneath the dash. So I believe 87, 88 on each side. You can see here, these are the courtesy lights, and these guys actually light up when the doors open. So kind of gives a nice glow down here in the footwell area. Hopefully all this stuff works when we test it out. The head unit, this car came with a factory Ford radio. The faceplate wasn't in the greatest condition, and after watching Kazal Customs video on the restoration of his with the Bluetooth feature enabled onto it, I went ahead and I sent that thing out as soon as I could. So that's going to be interesting to get that back. I am going to be updating all of the speakers and the doors. I'm waiting for all those to show up. Again, it was funny that he was using all the Pile audio stuff. I actually was using the same. It's cheap on Amazon. It seems to be making a comeback, and you know what? For a factory radio and everything else, it's going to sound better than the old factory stuff that was really worn out. So we'll get that all changed up. So in the back here, you can see I have the headlight / alternator harness, and I went through and I cleaned this guy up fully and retaped it. So this harness, I find, is probably one of the grossest harnesses in your Fox. They just seem to collect all the dirt, all the debris. When you get power steering leaks or any of those things, it just seems to throw all the grime and everything up into this harness. So did as much cleaning as possible, used some trusty electrical tape here, and then went over it with the 3M, what we call up here, hockey tape style harness tape to kind of give it that factory look and feel. So going to go ahead and get that installed. So all the headlights are bolted in. I did go with the diamond clears in the end. and just really need to run that harness, and everything should be good to go there. Got the battery tray loosely sitting in there because we do need to run that headlight harness underneath that. Once that's in place, we can actually bolt this guy down and hopefully put power to this car and see how much stuff works and how much doesn't. Got the under hood light all cleaned up, bolted in place, brand new battery cables done, all nice and fresh and clean. So we'll be able to test things out once we get this harness in, and fingers crossed everything's going to work.
Before the motor goes in, don't we?
Yeah, there's lots to do under there.
So, explain to me the Heineken.
Because Lewis doesn't drink, and he knows I like to have a beer, and he cut corners when he painted his engine bay, and he didn't take out the wiper motor or clean up the wiper motor. He just masked around it.
Is the case missing off that wiper motor or something?
There is no case. It's on there. Nice and black, all painted.
Oh, that's what I meant. So it's just there for decoration.
Yeah, just decor.
And you can't even get it off either.
Well, I'll have to wreck the can, but it's a protective sleeve while I'm doing wiring and stuff down in here. Make sure I don't scratch my paint.
That'll help, I guess. You will hit it.
Oh, I will. All right, guys, the headlight harness is in, and got our grounds hooked up. Got the connectors on the side of the solenoid where all the power distribution is, and I got the battery charger hooked up just on 2 amps for testing purposes to give the electrical system some juice. So go ahead and see what we got here. Plugged in the headlight switch. I haven't even checked the fuses, so hopefully everything in the fuse panel is okay. Well, that's a good start. You can see our clusters lit up here. Climate controls are lit up. So LED upgrade is just awesome, guys. If you guys have any reason to have your cluster out, or even just to do the LED upgrade, it's worth it. You know, you can go ahead and polish up your crystal here as well, or the cluster cover, and get everything looking shiny and new again. One thing that I just noticed is that dome light is not on. Have to double check the bulb up there. What's going on here? All right, got tail lights, license plate lights. These guys are actually the LED bulbs in there. Let's see what we got in the front. Got nothing. Parking lights should be on in the front, but they're not. Let's try for headlights. Nothing there either. Make sure connections are tight there. So voltage gauge, all the gauges seem to be doing something. Belts. Well, let's check some power functions. That works. Oh, nice. Everything's working good there. All right, guys, so I swapped out the headlight switch just to make sure it wasn't that. There was one harness I forgot to plug in on the wiper slash turn signal arm here. and it was the one that was hiding behind here. So I got that plugged in, and now when I hit the headlight switch, we've got headlights and we've got high beams. So that's a good start. We, however, do not have turn signals. Oh, I guess I should make sure we're forward. So no turn signals. And we still don't have inner markers. So a little bit more investigating to do. Check the flasher, check a couple other things. Hopefully we can get this sorted out. All right, guys, could be a rookie move. Forgot the hazard switch. And would you look at that? Let's see, what do we got here? Right. Keeping things simple here, checking the back of the fuse panel and just running through everything to see if I could find out what the parking lights in the front its problem are, which I have not. However, going down the list in fuse position 8 is our courtesy lights, fuel filler door release, and everything else, which that fuse is missing. So gonna go ahead and pop that in. Ooh, look at that. We've got a light up there. Got our courtesy lights on down in the floorboards, which is actually super cool. What I do want to test out is the okay, fuel door release works. Hatch release doesn't seem to work. Here we go. Just we don't have our full ground to the hatch yet. All right, guys, so managed to chase down most of the wiring gremlins, figured out the hatch release in the back, and managed to get the hazard lights working and the headlights. The only thing that is not working are the actual parking lights. So the one key thing, obviously you want to try and think back to everything that you did, was that I actually changed the headlight harness from the original one. The original one is this one here in my hand, and it was hacked up quite a bit. You can see this aftermarket headlight wiring here that was done, and just kind of some electrical tape and very poor connections, if you guys can see those. And just trying to look down at the wiring colors at all of these connectors. So here's the original harness. Here's the one that I have in the car. You can see that things look okay on the top row here. Red, black trace, green, black trace, which is the same on this guy. This is where things differ. We have a blue wire here, where this one's in fact red with a white trace. And red with a white trace is actually sitting down here on this guy. So what we're going to do, if you get a nice little screwdriver like this, and we can pop out this clip. All right, so if you pull this guy out, it's actually going to allow us to access all of the connectors here so that we can switch things around. So for instance, this blue one really needs to be the red with the white trace. So find the red with the white trace, which is this guy. On the bottom down here. Red with yellow almost, it seems. I'll release the blue one. I'll pop the red one in that place. There we go. So that's been changed. So the blue one needs to actually go down where the red one was. So that's just a swap. Now we have brown, which is not what we have here. So it's those two that need to get swapped. All right, so went and got this handy little pin tool here, which is a little bit more narrow than this little flathead screwdriver. So really, and the camera's not going to pick this up, there's just little clips in there that you just need to get underneath. That allows you to slide your wire out. It's the brown. Here's the tan. So slide that in there. Re-red this guy. Slide that in there. Reinstall the retaining clip that keeps all the pins in place. Plug that back in. Now, let's see if we have parking lights. Voila. All right, guys, pretty easy fix at the end of the day. Again, it's all about trying to recoup your steps. Check the obvious, check the fuses, because that did help us out with the courtesy lights on the inside and our dome light, all of those things. And for the parking lights, well, we had to repin a couple wires because, well, we changed the harness. So it's always important to check that. I should have done it. It was overlooked, but at the same time, it was a really good opportunity to show you guys how you can troubleshoot some of your wiring gremlins. So you got to make sure you check off everything, guys. And, you know, I just, instead of using a battery, I just had a battery charger hooked up, giving the car some power, and just going through everything. Check over your light switches, your window switches, your lock switches, all of those things, and make sure that it's all working. And in this case, it is. So pretty excited about that. And again, once you can get your wiring stuff out of the way, and you know, the car is pretty much a wired roller now. So it's really just kind of mechanical plug and play stuff that needs to be done. Still a lot of cleanup that needs to happen, but that's fine. And that's pretty much it. So I'm hoping that this video was informative for you guys, showing you how you can troubleshoot some of your electrical. And the end of the day, there's 12 volts and there's ground, and that completes your circuit. So you just really got to keep that in mind. Have a test light handy, and a little bit of patience, and you'll be able to get through it.